whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
Johnny, Canada has brought in these new euthanasia bloody laws that are a bit bloody, yeah, it's a difficult one, Johnny, but all I think is that eventually it will devalue the human life to something that we can just dispose of whenever we want to get the inclination, and I don't bloody think that's the way we should be going.
Here is drama of great love and aching loneliness.
But Johnny, once you start doing this, won't it eventually lead to a softening of attitude about suicide?
Even if you're not Canadian, you've probably heard that we have a bit of a problem with our assisted suicide regime. Namely, that we keep approving it for poor people, the disabled, or for veterans who are simply seeking help for their PTSD. But here's something particularly concerning to critics of Canadian euthanasia. Our rate of assisted suicide is absolutely exploding, with no signs of slowing down.
Strange Canada is a bloody leader in this bloody...
In the Netherlands, the first country in the world to legalize euthanasia, it took 10 years for euthanasia to represent 4% of the country's deaths. And Dutch eyebrows get raised if the rate rises more than 10% a year. Canada? After just 5 years, assisted suicide already represented 3.3% of all Canadian deaths, with the rate rising by more than 30% a year. And that was when we still limited euthanasia to people with terminal illnesses. Now that it's open to anyone with a grievous and irremediable condition, expect that number to blow up even more.
I mean, we've all got an old grandma or grandpa or whatever, or even a young family member, and it's tragic that they're actually losing the battle against some shitty disease, and perhaps they do want to bloody end it. And who are we to stand in the way of it? Where's all this going to lead, Johnny? But having said that, it's a very bloody slippery slope we'll be entering, because I can see down the track, human nature being what it is, that it'll just become normal.
Margaret Marcelli is a mother who lives outside Toronto, Canada. She's got a 23-year-old son who suffers from depression and diabetes. Also, he doesn't have a girlfriend. On that basis alone, doctors have just approved her son's assisted suicide. A doctor called Joshua Tepper signed off on it to kill the boy because he's sad and doesn't have a girlfriend. We know this because of the Substack Common Sense. You can read the details, and you should. They're shocking. This is about to become a lot more common in Canada as a way of cutting down on healthcare costs. By March, a new law in Canada is expected to allow children to be killed by doctors, by state doctors, without the approval of their parents. This seems like a very big change in Western civilization.
Johnny, let me get this straight. If you're seriously ill and you want to take your own life, you apply to the government for a license? Is that what they're saying? Now you need a bloody license to end your life, for Christ's sake.
Hello, you've reached the Provincial Health Services Authority telephone line for medical assistance in dying.
The countdown to Joni Cowie's death has begun.
Your call is important to us.
If you call the number on the government website, they will provide doctors that will sign off for you.
Like many disabled Canadians, she is stuck in a cycle of poverty and despair.
It's no hope for anybody in Ontario. That's a good boy.
So she's planning to end her life with the government's help.
And I would hate to see it when one day we get to down the track where we're asking old grandma, do you want to go into a home, grandma, or do you just want to end it all? Because we can get a license. I mean, that'd be fucking terrible, but human nature being what it is, every law that's been controversial in the past, that's come out in the last 150 years, every law that's been controversial, eventually it gets watered down to be more acceptable. Holy shit! I don't know about all this, Johnny.
Do what's this? What now? What
happened?
Who? With the who and the he?